The Senate says there should be a reversal. February 1st was when the Power Ministry stood behind the NERC, the electricity regulator, and the power generators and the distributors to bring a new template of electricity tariffs for Nigeria, or average 45% increase for both commercial and residential users. So that's the big business out there as we speak. Now, yesterday, the upper legislative chamber, the Congress says you got to go back, step back, don't do it. But that's not new because the House of Reps Committee on Power also told the NERC and the Power Ministry under Babatunde Fashola, former Lagos State Governor, not to move ahead with that electricity tariff hike. So let's talk about the Nigeria's electricity market and the face-off that is now right before us. Let's bring in Jubril Karim, who is an energy research analyst at EcoBank in Lagos, here with us. Jubril, good morning. Thanks for coming through.
Good morning, boss, and thank you for having me.
Yes. Now, who's stepping on the wires, the cables, as it were?
Well, I think first of all, what is a bit incomprehensible is how the Senate make pronouncements about businesses that are very sensitive, like the power sector, without any due consultation. I think what should have happened is calling the stakeholders, the NERC, the companies or representative, to explain the reason why the increase in tariff is necessary, not to immediately make a pronouncement about maintaining the status quo. Because if you look at it very well, this has been going on for a while. There was supposed to be an increase in the previous year, which never took place. And the generating companies and the distribution companies continue to carry out their businesses, even at what we estimate to be a loss position. So this new tariff was supposed to be a cost-reflective one, which should shore up their operation a bit and at least bring them closer to profitability. But the interference of the Senate, and this is the second time in less than 1 year that the Senate will be interfering in the affairs of a private institution like the power companies. The first time, they suspended the collection of fixed charges, and now they are suspending tariff increase again. What we have to understand is that government stake in a lot of these power assets now is less than 50%, which is no more controlling. So it's in the hand of the private sector, and they need to be treated as such.
Jubril, I'm going to cut in there very quickly to hang on to what you've just said. The Nigerian government currently has about 40%. That's no longer a majority shareholding.
About 49%, actually.
Yeah, just about, yes. So it's less than 50%. But hold on a second. The Senate represents the people. The Ministry of Power and the NERC belongs to the Nigerian government.
Okay, let's look at it this way, Brasin. When you are in a business that is not being profitable, regardless of who owns 49% of the business, if your business is not profitable, you can return the assets to the federal government and ask if the federal government interference in your business is hindering the progress of your operation. And the Senate needs to be careful not to push the power companies to what we usually experience in the petroleum marketing industry. In a case where we have the marketers refusing to import product or sell product at all. So there is a point where the losses being incurred by this company get too much for them to actually continue operation. And at that point, they might have to carry out some drastic measure. And that's what the Senate needs to be aware of when they are making this kind of decision. Look, there's a lot of analysis that shows that even with the 40% increase in tariff, it's still not covering the cost of operation of this company. Let's look at it this way. These companies make a lot of their costs. They incur a lot of their costs in dollars. So now just look at the issues surrounding FX, for instance. The generating companies are paying for gas in dollars, and we have equipment being purchased by the distribution companies in foreign currency as well. Just look at, as of today, if we have to take the parallel market and compare it to what it was by mid-2014, when exchange rate in the parallel market was about 165 naira to 345 today, that's about 100% increase. In the FX, in FX in which these companies are using to, in the cost that these companies are incurring on their FX expenses. So there's no way in which tariff won't have to go up in order to reflect such increase in cost. And that is what the Senate has failed to understand. And thereby making this pronouncement, and again, for a country that is looking to attract investors into its power industry, this kind of interference, it goes totally against modalities that will attract investors.
I was you're just taking that out of my mind. I was just about to ask the natural progression question as to how do you think the investment community was looking at this particular pronouncement from the upper Senate says, stop where you are, step back from the barricade, come back and talk to us, and let's just hear from you again. How do you, an investment analyst, all of you there, do you think this is something in the investment market community really tolerates?
Well, it's not very, in anywhere in the world, it's not very encouraging when government begin to meddle in private businesses. And it's the same thing here. If you look at most of these companies, despite the fact that most of the operators...
Jubril, I'm going to cut in again here. I will go back to that question. Jubril, I'm sorry. This order from the Senate, is it from the Nigerian government?
Well, the order from the Senate the Senate represents the Nigerian government. So
well, the Nigerian government owns it's owned by the Power Ministry, by Babatunde Fashola, isn't it? And the NERC. So is this a government against government?
Well, the NERC is a regulatory authority.
Set up by the government.
The government and regulates the industry. So pronouncement from the government, it's not a case of government against government. NERC does not generate its income from tariff as well. It's the power companies that are directly carrying out this operation that generate their income from tariff. And that is the distribution company as well as the generating company. So those ones are the ones that will be heavily affected by this pronouncement by the Senate.
The question really is, the power companies took their case to the NERC and to the Power Ministry, and the Power Minister signs off on it on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes. That was agreed. That was agreed to by both the NERC and the Ministry of Power.
So technically, the Nigerian government signed off that power tariffs should go up.
Yes, definitely. So it's a case of the Senate who is not aware of all that, or probably were not made aware of the increase in tariff, trying to interfere on behalf of the masses. But what they need to understand is that before all these tariffs were being implemented, there was already a consultation by the power companies. The power companies have made their case for an increase in tariff, and the NERC have presented the opposite case, and they've arrived at a level that they think is sustainable for both.
Let's leave it there for now. Let's hang it on the wires, or the cables as they put it. Let's hang it up there and see who goes there to bring it down first. Let's see who blinks first. Thank you very much, Jubril.